All right, here we go in three, two, one. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Sports Medicine Broadcast, a podcast to promote and improve your practice as an athletic trainer. I've got my friend Todd Sabol. He is an athletic trainer. He's an athletic trainer advocate, always trying to improve the profession and basically improve humanity. But he's got a new business, and he's invested a lot of money into this new business. And it's kind of shocking, like, why are you choosing to be a fitness coach? You're an athletic trainer. You know, there's always this we're not personal trainer thing going on. So it's going to be an interesting conversation to see how, why, and then where it's going. So, Todd, welcome to the Sports Medicine Broadcast. This time is slightly different. We've talked about the mental clarity and some of the other things you got going on. But what the heck? $10,000 for mentoring. This is sportsmedicinebroadcast.com/lovehandle. Of course, I am the host, Jeremy Jackson. This is sportsmedicinebroadcast.com/lovehandle. So, Todd, welcome back. Give us the website, the address, how we can get a hold of, check out this Lovehandle thing, and then we'll get to why.
Yeah, so thanks again for having me on, Jeremy. I think it's been a while since last time I was on, and quite a bit's changed. All good things. So, yeah, the best way to find the application link to the program is in any of the bios that I have: so Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. The link's right there to apply. The application is literally, I think, 10 questions, takes 5 minutes, but just to even see if it's something that you might be interested in. And then we just get on a little 10-minute call from there just to get to know each other if we don't, and talk a little bit of things through. But yeah, across the board, I'm Todd Sports Med on all handles, on all social media sites. And yeah, so that's the best way to get a hold of me.
All right, my biggest question. A fitness coach, dude. You're an athletic trainer, a medical professional. Why are you going to be a weight loss coach? Tell me the story.
Yeah, so I feel like it's been a long time coming, and in a weird way. It's not something I've been thinking about for a long time, but I do have the background in powerlifting, bodybuilding, a collegiate athlete. I was an athlete all my life, like a lot of athletic trainers are. And I was always trying to find ways to push my body, push my mind to, achieve the highest level of ability that I could, because I was an athletic person per se. I just had to work pretty hard to get what I had. So, in December, I actually launched my first online rehab injury offer. And I had, 12, 13, 14 people reach out, and, was able to have lengthy conversations with about 12 of those people. And I went 1 for 12 on bringing those people on. So I was feeling pretty down, and it wasn't, I think I might have went in with too high of expectations because it was my first time and I wasn't sure what to expect. But through those conversations, when we're trying to connect with people, and, for the athletic trainers that are listening, you always are trying to create that connection and learn more about the person, because that's what really matters. The skills and everything are cool, but if you can't make a connection with that person, you can't help them. So through these conversations I was having, the one glaring need that kept coming up was so the guy's shoulder may have hurt, and, he might have been struggling with that, but his or her biggest concern wasn't that they were in physical pain. It was, my shoulder hurts, so I haven't been working out as much. I've put on weight and I feel self-conscious around my wife or my husband. That was the big conversation and the big thing that kept coming back in these conversations. And that was the first kind of light bulb that I had in my head in a really long time of, is this where I need to be kind of focusing more of my attention on? Because I've always had a passion around this area, but kind of to your point, in the athletic training world, it's something that we try to distance ourselves from, and rightly so, because there's so much confusion around that. But I feel like it's something that I've kind of repressed in myself for a long time, because it's something that I do really, really enjoy and that I am passionate about. But again, kind of going back to what I just said, it's a really fine line to walk just because of the confusion around athletic training, personal training, and those types of things. So that's kind of like the short story of how it all happened so quick. But it's something that I feel like there's a fire in me with this, just because the one thing that I never could figure out, and I really struggled with when I was doing, whether it was in-person rehab in my side business or online rehab, was trying to incorporate the mental aspect of personal development, self-development, because like I'm a fanatic about it and I love it, but it's really hard to do that with, when you're talking to somebody about their shoulder pain or their knee pain or their ankle pain, and you try to throw in some like, oh, like these are some books I really enjoy, like these are some like little habits you can try to implement in your life that might make things a little bit easier, a little bit better, a little bit more efficient. It never felt like it clicked, and like I've had that thought in my head the past few years, is like, not that I felt inauthentic, because I didn't, because I loved injury rehab, I love sports medicine, and I always will. But I was like, I feel like I can be giving more. You know what I mean? Like a more complete package. So that's kind of the nitty gritty of that. If that kind of maybe clears up a little bit of that.
All right. So again, it's just something you're passionate about, something that you kind of been doing internal battle with. How do I do this? And then as you're growing, you're seeing more of a need. And every time I listen to one of those business podcasts or something like that, it's always talking about the riches are in the niches, and you got to find something that you're passionate about. And then I always hate the saying, if you find something you'll love, you'll never work a day in your life. But the concept or the idea is, if you find something you love, then even if you are working hard, it's something you enjoy. So
Yes.
makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say too, like just with the current climate that we're in with, COVID and the comorbidities that people can have that make, the struggles with that worse, like people getting in shape, not even to look good, but to feel good and be healthier, is such an important thing right now, because we're just not a healthy nation, a healthy country. So between that and just the impact that I feel that I can make, I feel like it can be bigger, just because it's more of a holistic piece. It's not just movement. It's the whole thing: movement, nutrition, mindset, being healthier, being happier, and being more fulfilled in everyday life.
I love the saying that movement is healing. And I think I don't know if you were the first person that I saw it, but I've definitely seen it from you a lot, that movement is healing, and that it's truly is something that like I live by, because I talk to people like, oh yeah, I'm trying to get back in shape, but then something else starts hurting. Well, keep moving. Don't just stop for 6 weeks because your back started hurting because it's the first time in 6 years you've done anything active. And so I love the idea, and that you're just moving with it. So Lovehandle to Lean, where is the name? Where did that come from? And I think the Lean is LEAN, like it's an acronym. So talk about that.
Yeah, so the name really came from those conversations I was having with a lot of people, because you're always trying to kind of figure out where is that pain coming from? Like what are the things that they really want to change, or that they're not happy with? And the word love handles kept coming up. The one, what was the one phrase, tire on my tummy, like those types of things, like those are kind of what really resonate. And I mean, that's what people struggle with. Like it's just kind of like what you said, that the riches are in the niches. Like these things are really important, that people hear that, because if you don't use the correct language, it's not going to resonate with anyone. So that's kind of how I came up with it. And I mean, I have a pretty small frame too, but I always tended to kind of keep a little bit extra, like around the same area, and so I could definitely like relate with that. So and just going back to the conversations, like there's so many people that are afraid to take their shirts off. Like the summer's coming up, it's supposed to be a really fun time of year, and they're dreading it. And being like I said, the big one in those conversations was like being self-conscious around spouses. Whether husband, wife, whoever I was talking to, it was like that's a really tough thing. If you don't feel comfortable enough to want to take your shirt off in front of your husband or wife, like that's a tough place to be. And the conversations we've had in the past, I mean, you know that I've struggled with things, and I haven't always been in great shape, and I've went through good times, bad times, and I've definitely been there. So all that stuff, it was easy for me to understand because I've been there. And I found ways to be able to get through that, and like that is what I want to be able to give to people and to provide to people.
All right, so if you were to poll my neighbors, you would see that I am definitely not afraid to take my shirt off, because like I'll take the trash out shirtless. I'm always out back in the backyard shirtless. It just, I guess I've never grown up out of that. So in my house,
Mm-hmm.
it's me and the boys are always running around shirtless, and here I am, 40 years old. So I don't know. I've never really struggled with taking my shirt off aspect, but it is what it is. So, all right. So the lean part. So I saw that is an acronym. Where did that? What does that spell out? What does that mean?
Yeah, so I'm still working through it a little bit, to be honest, because there's a couple ways that I want to go with it. But the idea behind it is like the L is just low hanging fruit, and that this is kind of that kind of proprietary thing that just kind of gives a little bit more insight to the program. So the L is low hanging fruit. So really honing in on training, nutrition, and accountability. Those are the three things that people seem to have the most struggle with when they're doing weight loss or fat loss or any type of program. That seems to be where the most confusion is, or if they're trying to do it on their own. They don't know what to eat, how much to eat, or what things to look for. Training wise, they don't know what workouts to do. They don't know if they should be doing a ton of cardio, which you shouldn't. You don't need to do that. But what workouts, whether it's body weight or HIIT or low intensity cardio, like that's just a huge confusion point for people, especially if they don't have a background in sports or fitness. So and then accountability is probably the most important from the conversations I've had. Is if people sometimes have trouble being accountable to themselves, because it's really easy to talk. At the end of a long day, if you said you're going to work out and you're tired, like I'll do it tomorrow. Like, so people that sometimes they're not always the most accountable to themselves because we have so much going on. So having accountability to another person. I put a post up a few weeks ago about that, about the percentages of the increase in probability of you reaching your goals, when you commit to someone else, have a plan, financially commit, all those things. And it's pretty substantial when you look at that over time. So those are the kind of the three things with the low hanging fruit. The E is education. And that is literally just really, when you come into the program, educating you on those things of how can we simplify those three things for you and buy your time back, right? Because the people that I'm really looking to to bring that have families that don't have the time to try to figure out a meal plan, nutrition plan, a training program, and to have the stress of staying accountable with that. So educating them and simplifying how to basically buy your time back, like to not have to worry about spending hours of the day trying to figure those things out, because we've already had those conversations and done that for you. You just have to kind of execute it and stay committed and be quick to act. And if you have questions, ask them quickly too. It's all about the quickness, not worrying about making a mistake, taking messy action, and then if there is a mistake there, we just clean that up real quick. So that's the E. The A is audit, and that is really, that's the big key of figuring out where you're starting right now, and then figuring out how we can manipulate that again to simplify the process and get you on the right path. And then the N is the one that I'm still struggling with. So I don't have a great word for that yet. The phrase that keeps coming back to me is never ending, because the thing that I keep posting about in my posts is the fad diets and the BS mainstream diet culture of quick fix, 30 pounds, 30 days, like that's what everybody likes to hear because we want the quick result. But this program is, yes, to lose your first 10 to 15 pounds in 12 weeks, or may take a little longer for you, but the goal is to build those habits, to build those mindset shifts, and to build a positive relationship with food and a positive relationship with movement and training. So whenever we do stop working together, whether it's 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, whatever it is, you develop those things over time, so you can keep that fat and that weight loss off that we got where we got at the beginning, right? It's all about sustainability, and that's what I really want to push, because I always would talk about it with injury rehab too, is if it sounds too good to be true, if you're being promised a quick fix, like, you may get there, but you're probably not going to stay there because you haven't developed the habits over time that you need to stay there. So that's kind of where that acronym comes from. I'm still working through it. The never ending thing. I want to find a better, maybe a little more catchy phrase for that. But that's the idea behind that, is the never ending, the sustainability to, um, to really be where you want to be 20 years from now, 30 years from now, right? Because that was the other really big thing that people were talking about in these conversations were, you know, I have kids and I feel like I can't be there for them, or I have grandkids either on the way or here, and I can't do with them what I used to do with my kids. Like I can't roll around on the floor with them and play, or I'm out of breath after taking a 10-minute walk, or those types of things. So um, like when you think back and 30 years from now, were you doing the right things to give you a sustainable result, or are you trying to get a quick fix for the beach and go from there? So I mean, I think the stat is like, if you lose, the people who lose weight with those kind of quick fix diets, like 80 or 90% not only gain all that weight back but gain more. So that's really what I'm trying to hit at, because it just it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't keep it off, and it doesn't matter if you feel good for 3 months, but the next 30 years you're in a bad spot. So that's really what I'm going after.
Your background profession, or your background as a medical professional, as an athletic trainer, how does that tie into, or or is this you're moving away from athletic training? So how does that work out?
Yeah, no, I don't plan on distancing myself from athletic training at all, because I think the skill set that we bring can be so beneficial to this space. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be prescribing shoulder impingement rehabs or anything with this, but if somebody's struggling to move around, whether it's aches or pains, like I have the knowledge to be able to at least give them some idea, without being too specific and going outside of the scope of what I'm doing now. That it only makes sense to me. I mean, you think about all the corrective exercise special certificates and specializations that personal trainers can get. Like a lot, they're doing a lot of similar things. I won't say the same things, because you know you can't replicate 4 or 6 years or longer in school that we get with athletic training. But I think that's just such a big piece. And like, even though they're two different areas, like you said, by moving tagline, like that's still the core of everything I'm doing. Developing that positive relationship with movement, and how to incorporate that to be a happy and healthier person. Like my ethos hasn't changed, which I feel really, really good about. You know what I mean?
One of the reasons that I continue to lift weights and continues your run is because I have a 10, 8, and 6-year-old, and then possibly a 1-year-old if we get to adopt her, and I want to be able to throw the baseball, or go play touch football or whatever it is with those kids, and I don't want to miss out on those moments, and I want to be around for their kids. And so I know if I don't take care of myself, then I'm going to end up missing out on those things later on. So definitely a good just point and reminder is you need that long-term sustainability. So talking about the big shift, you've been kind of going back and forth. We've talked before about the mental clarity. You talked about the accountability piece right here. And then in your stat, you mentioned financially committing. So that's the big thing. You posted on your Instagram $10,000 mentorship program that you invested in. So tell me a little bit about how you made that happen, but then ultimately what came out of that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long time coming, and I wish I would have done it, 4 years ago when I started, the business. But I've had a couple close friends and acquaintances who went through the program. Actually, one of them is an athletic trainer, ironically, and I knew that I was, if I was going to continue on the same path that I was, it was going to take way too long. And when you think about, I mean, in the sports realm, or just any realm, if anytime you want to get better at a sport, you hire a coach. Anytime you want to get better at learning, you have a teacher or a tutor. Anytime you have anything else, like you're a plumber. If you have something wrong, you hire a plumber. Like, you don't try to do it on your own unless you know what you're doing, right? But I was just at the point where I was fed up and I needed help, and I knew the reputation this coaching mentorship had, and the success and the results that their students had, and it was scary to make the investment. You know, with any investment, it's scary, but um, I always weighed, or when I was trying to make the decision for the final decision, what I kept weighing was, which is worse, the cost of the program or the cost of me staying where I'm at. And it always kept coming back to the cost of staying where I'm at was way worse. You know what I mean? Even if, like, and I kept trying to like tell myself this too, even if I ended up, going belly up and the money didn't return to me at all, like the lessons that I learned, and I knew what they were I knew what they were teaching to an extent that I knew it would be worth it anyways. So it was never really, it was a no brainer for me. It was just more almost talking myself out of not letting myself take the risk. You know what I mean? Because any time, whether it's financial, whether it's time, whether it's commitment, we tend to, talk ourselves out of things because it's outside of our comfort zone. But the thing that, I kept thinking about was like, what is on the other side of, me making this investment? And, like, I felt like I was going to puke when I ended up paying the money, but like it gave me a lot of clarity around why I'm doing what I'm doing, and just the people that, I'll be able to help by doing this. You know what I mean? Like the return, I believe, is going to be, tenfold of that, in terms of not just like financially or monetary, because like, I mean, we all have to make money, but like the impact is what I'm really, really after. And I feel like that was the only way that I'd be able to do it, because I'm just not that smart business wise. Like I'm just not, like, I don't have an MBA, or I didn't go to business school, or, I don't have, family members who have done business ventures or anything. So I knew I needed help. And this ties right into to fitness coaching too. Like, kind of coming to that realization that, like, maybe I do need help. Maybe I can't do it on my own, and kind of the cost worse, or is me staying here worse? So that was kind of that internal battle that I had with myself. But to kind of answer the second part of your question, it started in February, and we're just over halfway through, so it's still going on until about mid-May.
All right. So if you're going to say there was like one key takeaway, one light bulb moment in that course, what would that be?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I would say, and I have the quote written up on my board: people will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, ally their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. And again, that's not a business thing per se, but they constantly, talk, they constantly tell us that. I'm hearing a little bit of feedback, Jeremy. But they constantly are telling us that, and everything I do, I try to keep that in the back of my head. How can I? It goes back to athletic training too. Is how can I help encourage someone to make the change, to make the jump, to make the leap, and let them know that it's okay that you've failed before, and that you aren't where you want to be, because we've all been there, right? Whether it's been fitness, business, schooling, whatever. Like, just making that connection, and like that ties into everything that I'm doing now that I wasn't doing before. Like, doing trying to get people into the program. Like, sales and marketing is not easy, but once you kind of realize that you can truly help this person, it's not selling. It's like, I want you in here so I can help you. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like kind of like slimy, like the used car salesman, right? You truly know you can help that person by having them in the program. That's been the biggest mindset shift for me, at least, is just you're not selling someone to sell them. You're selling them because you know that you can make an impact on their life.
All right, so Lovehandle to Lean, the method again from Todd Sabol. It's a program to help you create that accountability, to grab that low-hanging fruit, to achieve some of your goals. Todd, I hope you're prepared for this, because sitting behind you, there's a whole bookshelf of books. I know you're a big reader. So I want you to kind of reach back there without looking. Grab one of those books and tell me something that
Without
you learned
looking?
from it. Yeah, kind of without looking. You don't have to knock everything out, but I know you can kind of see. You should be able to see in your screen. So I'm saying without like hand picking, just kind of reach back there, whichever one you put your hand on, and take that one.
I didn't have the cover on. It's actually Extreme Ownership.
Ah, well, that one's too easy.
And that's I'll pick another one.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I'll pick another one. Good. Okay. That's actually hilarious that worked out, because in the core values for Todd Sports Med, for the company that I had, that each client will sign on when they come into the program. Literally the first one's Extreme Ownership, and it ties into everything we do. And like I said, the accountability piece of what I'll be bringing to the table is pretty next level in terms of the access and the conversations, weekly, daily, whatever. But also always knowing at the end of the day, it comes back to you, right? The effort you're putting in, the attention to detail, and all of that, right? Like, I will do whatever I can for you. If it's a phone call, if it's a text, if it's helping you out with your macros, helping you out with a movement that you can't do at home, whatever it is, like, I will help you. But at the end of the day, like, it's 100% on you to use the tools that are at your disposal to get the result that you want. But the beauty of Extreme Ownership, and I know this is a big book in the athletic training community that we always talk about on Twitter. The beauty of that is, if you have 100% extreme ownership and you're 100% accountable for you, and I'm 100% accountable for me and what I'm providing you, it makes a seamless team, because there's not judgments being thrown around. There's not accusations being thrown around. We're all doing the best we can for the greater good. And so that's why it's the number one core value for the company. It's hilarious that it was just up there. I let one of the high school kids borrow it to me. So that is really the foundation for everything in a successful team. And I believe it's I can't speak for big companies or anything like that, but I believe it all comes back to that. So that's funny that was the one that I picked up.
All right. So Lovehandle to Lean, you already said the best way to get a hold of you on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter is Todd Sports Med. So Todd, leave us with a takeaway, maybe even your elevator pitch for Lovehandle to Lean.
Yeah, I would just say the biggest takeaway, if you've seen this or you're thinking about this, even if it's me or not, if it's somebody else, my biggest thing is just take the chance, take the risk on yourself. Like, you owe it to yourself to invest the time, the money into making yourself happier and healthier. That if you're not there and you want to get there, like, you owe it to yourself to do that for you, for your family, for your job, or whatever goals you want to have, just to live a longer life. I mean, those are the things that are really important, and so I would just encourage you to do that. That'd be my one thing to leave with. And, the elevator pitch really is just, the program drops today at 7 p.m. I'm looking for 10 busy professionals that are looking to lose fat, gain energy back, and keep that weight off for life. So if you struggle with training, nutrition, accountability in the past, and those are things that have really kind of held you back from reaching your goals, reach out and we can have a conversation. I'd love to talk to you.
All right, good. And then what is this going to look like? What is success going to look like for, like, on your end?
I would say that's a good question. I would say success for me in the short term for this would be we kind of talked about buying time back earlier for the, the people that be coming into the program. I want to buy some of my time back too. And again, that I not distancing myself from athletic training, but as me and Emily start to, try to have a family, and my parents get older and my grandparents get older, I want to, be there more for them. And so I don't know what that looks like yet, but I really want this to be, a substantial piece of what I'm doing in my everyday life. And I would say that's probably good. I would say short term, like I would love to get Emily out of work. Just so, when we do have a family, like that's not even something that is, on her brain and having to worry about.
There you go. That's a huge key for us. Sarah staying home was a big piece, and we did what it took to make it happen. So congratulations on the start. Tim Neal was watching live on Facebook. He is here with me in Texas, and he does something similar. He's an athletic trainer. He works a lot of like per diem events, and he runs like a per diem athletic trainer company, but he also just opened up a like fitness facility. So he's saying bringing the fitness and athletic trainer to him is a no-brainer. And again, this is Todd Sabol. If you want to check out the Lovehandle to Lean, and Todd, if you're looking at him if you're following him on social media, then you've seen like just the vulnerability, the honesty in his posts, or if you listen to the previous podcast with Todd, just talking about his struggles, and it's never really about, hey, look at me, look at what I'm doing. Like this is just Todd sharing his story and truly wanting to help other people, and it comes through with who he is, with the way he interacts. You can't fake the authenticity that much. So reach out to Todd, check it out. If you're interested in doing something similar, then you can, again, hit him up and ask him about the mentorship program or some of the other steps that he's taken as well. Lovehandle to Lean. This is sportsmedicinebroadcast.com/Lovehandle. So for Jeremy, for Todd, for Lovehandle to Lean and the Sports Medicine Broadcast, Tim, and whoever else was watching live that didn't comment, thanks for watching live on the Facebook. Check it out tonight. I was actually in the middle of filling out the application on Todd's website just so I could kind of see and have an idea. And it really is just, hey, I want to get to know you, and then we'll see what happens from there. So we'll come back on in a month or 6 months or whatever it is, and see where Todd is with all of this. So
Great.
For Jeremy and the Sports Medicine Broadcast and Todd, that is a wrap. Thanks.
Thank you.